Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you'll just have to merge the two videos together. A
Over.
little bit more homework for you after the thing. But yeah, so I think there's the investor side experience, right? Which is, what is it that investors want? And so we're trying to do a little bit better understanding of that. What do fund managers want? Because they're the ones managing the fund. So we need to understand that side too. So we're really trying to get a grapple on that side, because fund managers still want to control who enters their fund, right? So once you put it on the blockchain, you tokenize it, you may still want to ensure that you want to have control on who comes in. That investor, you still want them to go through KYC checks, make sure they're not a bad actor. So there's a set of things that you'd want to make sure. So there's the investor experience, there's the fund manager experience, there's the regulatory side, and then there's the tech side. And so we're really looking at all of those components and saying, how do we put all those together to create kind of a best-in-class experience to enable secondary trading.
Okay. Another question, if nobody else has any. Foreign investors, do you guys handle foreign investors? How does that work?
Yeah, we are actually, we've been getting more and more requests to do foreign investors. So we are actually right in process right now of sorting through the details of foreign investors. It's a little bit different because what you don't want if you're a fund manager, we're trying to keep life simple for a fund manager. And if you let a foreign investor in that does not have a US taxpayer ID number, you then have to do tax withholding on their earnings, which just gets complicated from an accounting and a tax perspective for fund managers. So what we're doing is we are, and we haven't announced it yet, but we're talking to a few different partners to really make it simple and fast to go and basically have international investors get set up in the US with a US entity, get their EINs, get their SSI, their ITIN numbers, get their bank account set up, get everything set up that they can then invest very quickly in funds in the US. So it's definitely a pain point for international investors. We've heard it loud and clear. So we are off looking at solving that solution, which would then make it a lot easier. Our platform already supports international investors. The issue is not that. It's the pain point is that the international investors aren't set up to invest in the US. So that's the pain point we want to go solve to make it easier for all of our fund managers to quickly take on international investors into their funds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So one other thing I think might be a little unique with Avestor is you have the customizable fund, and let's say there's an LP that's in the customizable fund, and then they elect to invest in an end product investment. And then let's say it's a building, an apartment one. And then apartment one pays out a distribution to the LPs. That distribution goes to sort of their account at the customizable fund level.
Yeah.
And then are they able to take, I guess, another distribution to their personal bank account, or how does that?
Yeah. So what we've done is, again, what we've tried to do is build a public markets type experience for the investors inside of a customizable fund. So think about how it works in a public markets. You open up an account with E-Trade. You then take and let's say move $50,000 from your personal bank account over to E-Trade. It sits in a cash account. Then that cash account starts, you say, I want to invest in stock A, B, C, D, and E. You then go invest it. It's in those investments. Those investments pay dividends. Those go back into your cash account. Then you can decide if you want to take the money out of that cash account back into your bank account, right? So that's sort of the model and the flow that happens. So we wanted to do something similar like that, but do it for the fund infrastructure. So what we've built is what we call kind of a virtual cash balance account inside the fund. And again, this is all about transparency, right? And so when you invest into a fund, the money goes into kind of a virtual cash balance account. So the fund bank account basically has a whole bunch of cash sitting in it. We're allocating the cash to the investors that it belongs to. Then when you invest in a specific deal for that fund, inside of that fund, that goes into the investment, just like you do with your stocks. When the distributions come, it goes back into your virtual cash balance account. So a portion of that cash balance that's sitting in the fund belongs to you as the investor. So when you log into your account, you can see, oh, I've received, these are my 5 investments. These are the earnings I've received on these 5 investments. This is how much cash balance I have. And then you can take a withdrawal or distribution on that cash balance if you want. Or if you want to reinvest it, you can reinvest that cash balance into another investment in the fund. So what we've done is we've created a model which really helps investors kind of think and feel like the same way they would in a traditional public market space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, hearing about it explained that way does draw a lot of parallels to the public market approach and makes a lot more sense thinking about it that way. Looks like Bobby might have something.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Bobby has to run. I wanted to see if he had any other questions or okay. Real quick, Tim. I just wanted to see if Sanford had any questions.
Yes, hello.
How are you, sir?
Hey, Sanford, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I don't know if it's for me. So I'm here to listen to you guys. So
Okay.
I'm with the medical field. I heard you like investors stuff like you're in the business. So I'm here to learn
Okay.
the reason why. So I've got I wanted to attend like the Zoom meeting today is because I wanna be my own boss. I just want to open my own business, so that's why. So I'm here, and I'm listening, and to see if I can get something from you, so I can move forward with my plan.
You work in the medical field, like hospitals and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
There could be room to use Avestor for those guys.
We do actually. Medical space is a very interesting space, and I think the startup fund that we just launched is actually a medical startup fund. And so what they're investing is in seed level companies, seed level startups in the healthcare space. And you know, so you know, one of the fund managers is a well-known doctor. So you know, it kind of gives investors the ability to invest with somebody who's already an expert in the space. And you know, so they should be able to vet out good, high quality startups because they understand the space really well as the fund manager. So, you know, if you think about, you know, kind of your expertise, you know, you can think about, you know, what could you do and how do you use your background and expertise and leverage that in the investment space is the way to think about it versus a full transition.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think about it that way when you're doing it, which is, you know, anytime you can leverage your background and your experience, it will, you know, and then, you know, use that to lift off to, you know, build the next thing. You know, it'll help you.
There's yeah, that's excellent. It's also this idea, you know, people work in the hospital, a lot of them, they work a lot of hours and they don't really have a lot of time to think about investments.
Yeah.
You could kind of be a person that kind of highlights that there are investments out there with Avestor, because I think Avestor, you guys do sort of a co-GP. You guys have a co-GP model?
We don't get involved in it. We're delivering the platform and the services, but yeah, there's folks that are partnering together on. There are fund managers that partner together on our platform to go do deals together.
When there's a deal on Avestor, is it private in the sense that nobody else on Avestor can see it, or is it able, like if you have a fund you're raising money for, can other members on Avestor kind of see it? Maybe via
no.
Okay.
Each fund manager and each fund manager has their own portal for their own investors. But an investor can join multiple funds. So as from an investor standpoint, if you're in 2 or 3 different funds, you log in, you can kind of flip between the funds and see your portfolios in each of your funds that you're participating in. But from the fund side, every manager manages their own investor base. So we don't, because they're bringing in their own investors, we don't share that data with another fund manager. But they do partner on deals. So if there's a deal that they're both interested in, they may come together, do due diligence together, and then determine, is this a deal that they want to participate in, and then they would both invest in those deals. So there's our network is getting stronger and stronger by the day, where the managers are working together, learning from each other, educating each other, and
how do they collaborate, or how do they converse?
We have a private mastermind that we run where we bring managers together. We're actually having our first retreat next month, where we've got a whole ton of managers flying up here to the Pacific Northwest, and we're going to be together. And so we're enabling a community where managers can help each other, and learn and grow from each other, share due diligence, share spreadsheets, really collaboratively, because it raise all boats basically, right? So we're going to create that kind of environment where people are helping each other.
Gotcha. I got more questions. Keep going.
More
I love talking about this stuff. So, and I think I know the answer, but just to be safe. So you have a customizable fund that has its own suite of regulatory documents. I assume it's a reg. You could set it up as a Reg D.
They're Reg Ds.
Reg D.
Yeah, we may support others in the future, but right now, we're laser focused on Reg Ds.
So you have this customizable one, and then you have a deal. And I think I understand that the deal doesn't need its own suite of documents, but
Correct.
Does that mean, or can 2 deals have different structures?
Yes.
Okay, so does that mean the language of the customizable fund is in such a manner that it allows for?
Exactly. And that's what I was saying before, which is we built this thing really from scratch to think through every aspect of it, where, this starts with the legal documents. It starts with the architecture of the legal documents. That architecture then has to be built into the technology. That technology then has to deliver the ability to fractionalize investments, create custom portfolios inside of a fund, manage the money, and then do the accounting and reconciliation for that back to the accounting software. And then all of that has to then tie back out to the tax side at the end. So you can't do just one piece of it if you want to do it right. You have to do the whole thing end to end, every part of it, which is why it's taken us so many years to really optimize it to make it work well.
Does that you have the customizable fund, you have a deal. Does the deal have its own document of any sort? How do they actually subscribe?
There is some stuff we do, but it's super it's targeted, it's clear. So we go through it with the managers, and then the investors, they do sign off on something, but it's not, you don't have to redo the 80-page documents every single time anymore. You save those costs.
And it gets locked in. It's for the deal, on the deal level.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about pref and structure. Like, you can't, you write it down, it's done, and then the guy comes in from the customizable fund, he agrees to that structure, and then you can't change that structure anymore, right?
Correct. For an investment, once the manager says this is the structure for this specific investment, and then the investors sign off saying, I want to have my capital into that investment in the fund, you can't change the structure after that, because you've committed that structure, and those, whether it's an 8% pref or whatever that structure is, 8%, 70-30 split. Once you've committed that on that specific investment, that's locked and loaded then. And that becomes part of the deal structure for that specific deal. Now, when you have your next deal as a manager, you can pick a different structure for the next deal, And then
Right.
your investors can decide if they want to participate in that deal with that structure. So every deal can be a different structure. But yeah, once the investors, invest, then you're locked. Then you can't change it on them.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But from a manager standpoint, if you think about traditional pooled funds, think of it almost like a house where you have to pour the foundation, you have to build all the rooms, you have to put the roof on it, and then all you get to do is decide, okay, how many rooms can I fit in this house? And that's it. When we do it with a customizable fund, an easy way to think about it is you're just pouring the foundation. Then once you pour the foundation, every time you have a new deal, you put it on the foundation to the size and shape you want it and the color you want it. Then when you have your next deal, you put it on the foundation and you just grow the building over time. So it gives you significant more flexibility the way we've designed it versus, being boxed into a traditional pooled fund that may say, hey, I'm going to invest 3 to 5, in this fund, I'm going to raise $10 million. I am going to invest in multifamily. I'm in Southern Florida, and I'm going to buy 3 to 4 apartments. Then the market turns on you, and Southern Florida is a terrible place to be, and you want to go invest in Georgia, and you can now because your fund documents were so tightly optimized to the box and the house you created. You're now stuck as a manager, and now you end up having to go buy properties potentially that aren't that attractive from a return standpoint because you've already collected the investor money. You got to deliver something to them, so you end up making bad decisions. So that's where our model provides huge flexibility strategically because it gives managers so much more flexibility to select what investments to put in the fund. And the investors get a lot more flexibility because they're not getting a bunch of promises. They're actually seeing what they're investing in.
Mhm. And it services non-accredited investors as well, or is it only accredited?
There's 2 types of 506B, there's 2 types of Reg D offerings. One's a 506C, one's a 506B. 506B funds do allow up to 35 non-accredited investors, but you won't see those advertised because it's per SEC rules, you cannot advertise 506B offerings, but they do let accredited investors into those offerings. But you have to know somebody.
Right, with the tool, Avestor tool, because
Oh yeah, we support both.
yeah, okay.
We've got funds that are 506B, but you won't see those on our marketplace because we can't advertise the 506B funds. So the only funds you'll see on our marketplace are 506C funds.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
That might be it for
Cool.
me.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Tim, man, I love. Thank you for coming on, man. I mean, yeah, I know what you're doing, man. You're doing some big things, so I appreciate it.
Say thank you.
Yeah,
And it's nice to be able to talk straight to the big boy at Avestor,
No problem. So we're just we're trying to grow and do what's right and build a great platform that helps.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm new to the syndication world. We're working on our first deal, and one of the things that's very surprising to me is you hear. I mean, for people that know syndication, you hear the word all the time once you're in it.
Yeah.
But go looking for people to help. There's just not that many companies out there. It's not like there's 100 to choose from. There's a handful, and
Yeah.
one of them. To me, it was really amazing how few there are out there. So it's kind of
And I think for us, what we've always my vision's always been we provide end-to-end service and education and collaboration. Most of the folks out there provide the tools, but then you kind of have to figure everything else out on your own if you're just getting into the space. Where with our model, we're really trying to provide an end-to-end solution to help folks get through the whole thing. And we're also partnering with a lot of other folks that are that are kind of in the education space as well. So we're doing it that way too. But it's really instead of helping people allows them to move faster versus letting them figuring it out on their own. So that's kind of our model.
Beautiful. Love it. Well, it's been about 45 minutes. So, you know, if you want to keep going, we can. If not, you know, we could go ahead and wrap it up. But, you know, I also feel that, you know, Avestor is definitely giving a platform that helps all realms of, you know, real estate investors. So, you know, when Bobby actually introduced me to you guys and showed me your software, and I mean, it's pretty incredible. You know, to me, I mean, it was kind of like the Amazon, you know, for deals. In a way, you know, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I can like shoot, but very cool, man. So yeah, I do appreciate your time coming on here and spending at least 45 minutes, which is amazing. And I appreciate Bobby, you know, introducing us, and you know, I know Bobby had to run, but you know, he's been a awesome friend, and anyone that he's associated with is just awesome. And I'm
Bobby's
very,
great.
yeah, very pleased to have you, man. So,
Thank you, Eric.
where could one reach you if they want to contact you, or
Sanjay at avestorinc.com. So it's
beautiful.
super simple.
All right, perfect, man. Perfect.
And our website's avestorinc.com. So, but if
Awesome.
you just type Avestor in, you'll see it.
I do have a couple of things before we go. I know you're not local here, but Tim, I know you're local. I don't know where Sanford is, but August is a pretty good month for us here in South Florida. Bobby and I are having a CPA tax class that we're having one of our buddies teach. That's in August 23rd. That's in Boca Raton. It looks like Kim Kardashian will be there. I don't know where that came from, but you know, she spoke about it, so I guess people are coming. And then leading into September, you know, I have a summit in Orlando, which would be awesome if everyone wants to come. I'll send information on that. And of course, October 7th, Bobby and I are having our third SoFlo Real Estate Investors Summit, and we're really excited to have that there. So, you know, if anyone's around, feel free to come. As I said, you know, I'll be recording this, so and I'll you know, spice it up a little bit. Hopefully that little stop recording and recording doesn't really mess it up too much. But again, I appreciate everyone coming on, and you know, again, thank you so much, Sanjay, from coming on here, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah.
Great talking to you guys.
All right, guys, have a good one. Tim, my
You too.
man.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Guys,
Good one.
Eric.